Welcome to Compensatory Programs, Technical Assistance Talking Points, February through April 2020.
Hello, I'm Melissa Skonik, Title I Program Manager. I'm going to start the budget section of the talking points. So for all compensatory program funds, we adhere to the following spending guidelines. 30% should be spent by January 31st, 2020, 60% by March 31st, 2020, 80% by May 31st, 2020, and then 100% must be spent by September 30th, 2020. Remember, at this time, your salaries have been drawing down since October, your salary and benefits. So even though you might not have many purchase orders in yet or received, your Title I funds have been being spent this whole time since October. Budget FY20. School secretaries must verify that all purchase orders have been received and paid out by checking the open purchase order report and the PIN 5 report. For purchase orders that have not been paid out, the school secretary should contact the vendor and request an invoice, and then that invoice should be sent to accounts payable for immediate attention. This is something that should be happening on a weekly or monthly basis at your school site, so that in September we're not rushing to clear out and close out a whole bunch of purchase orders. This is important information. Purchase orders for technology should be entered into the system by March 27th, 2020 to ensure delivery by June 26, 2020. This is to include technology that is in your carry forward budget. So we are hoping that carry forward funds will be released in time to meet this deadline. If not, we will change deadline in order to meet this. For FY20 budget continued contracted services, anytime you have someone doing a professional service at your school site, you must have a contract between them and the Board of Education. The Title I department will not pay for services provided unless there has been an approved contract between Savannah-Chatham County and the vendor. Professional development proposals must be submitted at least 10 days prior to the service. And then payment for the services are submitted as a purchase order, and included with that purchase order must be the agenda and the sign-in sheets from the service. And remember, when those purchase orders are put in the comment section, you'll need to put the M number for the contract in that purchase order. Special check requests for professional development, travel, and registration. Once these have been processed through the Title I office, it is the school site's responsibility to ensure that payment has been reached to the event vendor or hotel. So before your staff members travel to a hotel or a conference, it is the site's responsibility to make sure that the payment has reached those vendors before they leave for travel.
Hello, my name is Debbie Burnett, Title I Program Manager, and I'm here to speak to you concerning family engagement. You'll notice on some screens some key dates for upcoming events. February 12th, we have a training with all family engagement staff at Lower Woodville Tompkins. February 28th, there's an annual evaluation survey that's going to be due to program managers. And March 7th, all certified and classified staff will have to have completed a training on building staff capacity and working with families. This is often what we call Capacity 3, and this training is supplied by the district. Family engagement. At ESOL sites only, each marking period, sites must submit documentation of distribution of EL parent notification letters to newly enrolled students. Family engagement, April 24th, 2020. All family engagement items are due to program managers. This includes the annual evaluation surveys with their results, tally, and narrative, electronic drafts of revisions to compacts and family engagement policy. Also, your family engagement forum documentation. This is the meeting where you get input from families and stakeholders on family engagement budgets, your compacts, your policies, how your school is going to train staff on working with parents, and your school improvement plan. Additionally, due on the 24th are documents related to Capacity 3. This is where you're training your staff for the 4th marking period on working with families. All capacity documents for 2019-2020 school year are due on April 24th. This is the drop dead date for anything for Family Engagement Title I unless you've had prior approval from your program manager. Cross-functional monitoring will be April 23rd, 2020. This is a date where all federal programs will be reviewed by Godot in the Savannah-Chatham school system. This is not just related to Title I or family engagement, although this slide is directly related to family engagement. On the 23rd, Godot will come in and examine documentation in the Title I office for at least one high school, one middle school, one K-8 school, and one elementary school at a minimum. They will look at everything that happened at your school for family engagement and all submitted documentation. We'll know 2 weeks ahead of time which schools have been selected, and we'll notify you as soon as we know. But please be assured we've tried to work very closely with your staff at your school site who work in family engagement to ensure that you are ready and prepared for cross-functional monitoring. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bettina Polite Tate, a Title I Program Manager, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the tutorial process for Title I Part A for extended day, extended year, summer, not for promotion. Title I funds may be used in conjunction with state and local funds to provide tutorial support to students who are struggling in core academic subject areas or who are at risk of not meeting the state's achievement standards. Teacher payroll should be submitted via the workflow process, and payroll deadlines are available on Acorn Finance. If there are any questions about how to properly document tutorial or the workflow process, please contact your Title I program manager. Please keep in mind that there is a minimum ratio of 5 students to 1 teacher. If the daily total is less than 5 students in each tutorial class, the tutorial teacher must be paid with state or local monies, which is account 349. Also, teachers with a T4 will be paid at an hourly rate of $25 per hour. Teachers with a T5 or above will be paid at the hourly rate of $30. Summer school for promotion, there's a minimum teacher-student ratio of 1 to 10. Pay is based on school year 2020 teacher salary scale, the 190 days, hourly rate at the state per diem. Schools planning to hold summer school for promotion must budget with a teacher-student ratio, again, of 1 to 10. Teachers should have work agreement signed for both Title I, account 866, and state and local funds 349 account lines. Title I summer school work agreements must be submitted to program managers 10 days prior to start date for processing. Georgia PSC certificate and professionally qualified documentation must be attached. Summer school tutors are paid based on fiscal year 2020 teacher salary scale. Again, that's 190 days hourly rate, state per diem. Workflow document must be signed and dated by the summer school lead administrator. The summer school lead administrator must be paid from 349 funds. Student sign-in sheets and signed workflow in original form must be submitted to Title I program managers. Each teacher, including approved substitutes, must have original student sign-in sheets reflecting only students served by that teacher. Student signatures must be in students' own handwriting. Students' weekly activity online log reflecting only students served by the teacher must be submitted to the Title I program manager. Chronos report of teacher attendance reflecting clock in, clock out must be submitted along with student sign-in documents. If daily total is less than 10 students in each tutorial class, tutorial teacher must be paid with school's local state monies. Summer school procedures will be shared with the summer school administrator or lead. You also need to determine who is the designated summer school administrator or lead at your site. The tutorial summer school payroll process is as follows. Teachers should have work agreements for both Title I, account 866, and local state funds, account 349. Work agreements must be submitted to program managers 10 days prior to the start date for processing. Alert program manager to whom will be the designated lead teacher. Student and teacher sign-in sheets must be submitted with payroll workflow. Payrolls must be submitted through the Title I supplemental workflow process. Title I inventory should reflect fiscal year updates to include location, description, serial number, PO number, acquisition date, unit cost, funding source, vendor, percentage, FAIN, condition, and disposition. Fiscal year 2020 FAIN number is S010A190010. Equipment materials should be identified and permanently marked with the fiscal year of the purchase, as well as PL 107 110 Title I Part A. Title I inventory serves as a needs determination document and shall be updated to include any item, fixed and non-fixed, with a useful life of a year or more as items are received. May 1st, 2020, fiscal year 2019 updated Title I inventory is due to program managers. Each page of the inventory must be signed and dated by the principal and the person conducting the inventory. Title I inventory utilized outside of core academic areas must be supported by the site CNA and specifically referenced within the school's school improvement plan.
Hello, this is Sharon Hill, the school district's homeless liaison. I'd like to speak with you briefly about the McKinney-Vento Homeless Education Assistance Act, which is a federal law which requires school districts to provide educational stability to students who are living in homeless situations. Those situations can include students who are living in motels, emergency shelters, those who have had evictions, foreclosures, lost their housing due to loss of income, who are living in their vehicles, places not meant for human habitation, such as bus stations or parks, or those who have been the victims of fires, hurricanes, earthquakes, or floods. Students who are living in homeless situations have the right to remain in their school of origin, which is the last school that this child was enrolled in, enroll in the school based on their current address, which is oftentimes a temporary living situation. Most families often opt to enroll in their school of origin and remain there throughout the school year. Students are also entitled to receive bus transportation to and from their school of origin, regardless of the number of times he or she may move, as well as if a child receives permanent housing at any point during the school year, he or she is still considered to be homeless because their living situation may be tentative based on the family's financial situation, and the child is allowed to remain for educational stability purposes. If there is a dispute regarding the child's enrollment, he or she If an administrator has a concern about a student's eligibility for McKinney-Vento, determining whether he or she has chosen the best school for their academic success, or the enrollment of a student, the student does have the right to remain enrolled at that school until a dispute is resolved. The dispute resolution policy includes an administrator providing written explanation to myself as well as to the parent as to why the child cannot remain enrolled at the school, as well as an appeal process which can take up to several days depending upon the availability of the enrollment committee.
Hello, I'm Charles Neidlinger. I'm the Director and Coordinator for Title III and ESOL for Savannah-Chatham County Public Schools. The talking points for Title III ESOL are as follows. First of all, access for EL testing is upon us. The access for ELS testing is the annual test for all identified English learners. This is not just for the ESOL sites in the school, those 11 sites that house the ESOL program. This is for all schools that have identified English learners at their site. So therefore, we're looking at students across the district that will be responsible for this test. The Access for ELS testing window for 2020 begins January 15th and continues through March 6th. All identified English learners in the district must be administered the Access for ELS. If new students arrive during the testing window and are determined to be eligible for ESOL services, an Access for ELS test must be ordered via the district testing office. The testing coordinator for each site is responsible for this and knows the procedure. Students in kindergarten will be administered the test via paper pencil. Grades 1 through 12 will test online. Access for ELS is administered annually to all English learners in Georgia. Access for ELS is a standards-based criterion referenced English language proficiency test designed to measure English learners' social and academic proficiency in English. It assesses social and instructional English as well as the language associated with language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies within the school's context across the 4 language domains. Access for ELS meets the ESSA mandate requiring states to evaluate EL students in grades K through 12 on their progress in learning to speak English. EL monitored students are not assessed with Access for ELS. Alternate Access for ELS is administered to students who participate in the GAA assessment. Next, we will discuss GMAS. GMAS for all students who are identified English learners. The ESOL team will review testing participation committee accommodation forms with all classroom teachers and site testing coordinator. ESOL team will assist in ESOL testing for GMAS with the site testing coordinator if needed. ESOL progress reports and quarterly census assurance forms are due at the end of March and the beginning of April. The district implemented a procedure for ESOL sites to report EL student progress to the EL designee for the students' home schools on a quarterly basis. This allows principals to be aware of EL student progress, which could potentially affect their CCRPI. Although the students don't attend their site, they are attending the ESOL cluster site. The ESOL sites will submit EL student progress reports to EL designees no later than March 31st, 2020. In addition, a signed copy of the quarterly census assurance form will be submitted to the Title III program coordinator no later than April 10th, 2020. FTE is for ESOL sites only. The ESOL FTE date is March 5th, 2020. The ESOL team will coordinate and assist information specialists with ESOL coding for PowerSchool in preparation for FTE spring count. March 10th, an ESOL discrepancy report will be sent to the schools annotating any discrepancy found between the FTE tracker data which is controlled by the information specialist on site, and the ESOL participant list data, which is controlled by the ESOL teacher on site. Principals will need to verify that all corrections have been made.
After listening to these talking points, if you feel you need assistance, please reach out to your program manager for a review or a redelivery of items covered in talking points, or contact your program manager with any questions or areas where you need clarification or assistance.